And welcome into a Pander and Slander second episode. Hopefully, all y'all enjoyed that first episode. We are back for another week of wrestling content after what I would call a phenomenal Monday Night Raw. And as always, I'm Benny Harper. I'm joined by what looks like right now the WWE champion, James Irvin.
You already know. You already know. Listen, we're coming in here. We are possibly going to have a new champion on SmackDown Friday night. SmackDown. We're going to get into all of that later, but had to show off a little bit.
Oh yeah, and like you said, we do have a crazy match on the card announced after the Chamber this Friday night, and I mean, like he said, we will get into that. We'll be talking about that match because that match has crazy WrestleMania implications. And I mean, it could change what we originally thought the WrestleMania card looked like. But first, we got to talk about this phenomenal Monday Night Raw that they treated us. I mean, they owed us a good Monday Night Raw after last week.
Absolutely, they did, and they owe us a lot of good Monday Night Raws from the years of 2017 to 2020. Really, that's when Monday Night Raw episodes. But no, it was a really good Raw. You kind of needed it. You're on the road to WrestleMania. If you didn't start picking it up soon, you were gonna have kind of a lackluster build to WrestleMania.
Exactly. And this Raw had the Mania feel to it. It like we were talking about last week. This WrestleMania felt like a Mania without a story, without like something to go in and look at. And I felt like this Raw was the first step at addressing a lot of that because we got a lot of follow-ups or new storylines heading into Mania. So I think we just got to dive right in with how they opened up the show, which was the Vision coming out, but for it to only be Paul Heyman getting stomped out by Seth Rollins. What a great opening, a great follow-up to what Chamber was, because we had the crazy moment of Seth Rollins. I mean, crazy but predictable moment of Seth Rollins breaking into the cage, getting involved. And I thought this was a great cold open for the show.
I would have to agree. And I'm actually really interested to see what we're going to do with Seth Rollins now, because that was kind of felt like his get back to Paul Heyman. And unless I don't think you're going to run Seth Rollins versus Paul Heyman. So that kind of felt like it was the payoff that they kind of had to do since Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker went down. So where does that leave Seth Rollins? Does he go on another little break? Is he back? What is Seth Rollins going to be doing? Because what we saw later was Theory and Logan Paul are going to be going after the tag team titles, which I think is the absolute right decision. But what do you do with Seth Rollins? But you're right. It was a great open to Monday Night Raw.
And I mean, that is the huge question mark. I think something they said in that segment, which was Adam Pearce saying, I have to talk to Seth Rollins. He's not medically cleared to wrestle yet. I think maybe that has something to involve with him taking this break, because something I noticed is obviously Rollins didn't attack Logan Paul and Austin Theory. I was scared of them forcing like a Logan Paul Seth Rollins match down our throat at WrestleMania when it doesn't canonically make sense. I mean, those two
I will say Seth Rollins, Logan Paul would probably be a banger match. As much as we all hate Logan Paul is actually really, really good. He's actually good.
He is. It would have it just like canonically story-wise, it wouldn't make sense because the two weren't in the Vision when the turn happened, but the guy that was there was Paul Heyman, and he let it happen. So I like that they told this story of Seth Rollins getting his get back by just targeting Paul Heyman himself. Another question I would have by that segment, though, is, we keep seeing the fake out masked men. And I've been reading online that these fake out masked men are people from Seth Rollins' wrestling school.
They are.
So, and if that's true, what is the storyline with that? Is this going to be Seth Rollins coming in with like his minions and like that's his faction? He has a lot of, or are they just here to fill in a story for now?
I think it's probably they're here to fill in the story for now, because they haven't signed deals with the WWE. So.
Yeah. And it wouldn't really make sense for them to jump NXT either. What would that say for the NXT wrestlers? So these guys were just attached to Seth Rollins, so then they're allowed into the WWE immediately.
Like, I like what he's doing. Like, he's using
Mhm.
wrestlers at his disposal to be distractions. So that, like,
Yes.
I like it, but I don't think it's a permanent thing. Like, I think that was probably it. I think literally, so if I think that should be it with Seth Rollins and the Vision and the Masked Men. That should just be it.
No more Masked Men. I mean,
it's unfortunate with how everything played out. You obviously can't plan for injury.
Yeah.
It's no fault of anybody's that this had to be the payoff. But I think if you leave this as the payoff, I think that's perfectly fine.
And I mean, like, the only way I could picture a follow-up to this, we talked about this earlier, was the fact that maybe Rollins is the guy that answers Brock Lesnar's open challenge, or maybe it's Brock Lesnar scraps this open challenge and he comes to the aid of his wise man to defend him. I could maybe see that as a storyline that makes sense. But I'm on the lines with you. The WWE universe has already made it aware and in-house shows that they want Oba versus Brock. Make it as simple as that. Give us Oba versus Brock.
You don't need to overthink it.
No,
you really don't.
And Seth Rollins can be on the shelf. And maybe there is this magical timeline that Braun Breaker returns before WrestleMania from this hernia injury, and we could run that match. That canonically makes sense.
It would be a great match.
Yes.
My biggest pet peeve with the WWE and how they do things is they're like, if you can predict what's going to happen, then you can't become too predictable. We're not trying. We want to see that. We are actively telling. We want to see Oba Femi. Don't say that's predictable.
They
want predictable because it's cool. It's cool as fuck.
They want to go. Oh, you think you're smart? You think you're onto it? We're gonna switch it now. But we don't need to do that.
Brock Lesnar. Like, why? Like, no.
Well, of course, the rumored LA Knight, which still doesn't necessarily make sense. I mean, it would be a decent match.
It'd be cool for LA Knight to get that spot. The problem is it's going to have Brock Lesnar win. And then what do you do with LA?
Exactly. And how is Brock Lesnar going to win? Are we really going to show off LA Knight? Or is it going to be John Cena versus Brock Lesnar at WrestlePalooza where it's 27 F5s and we do nothing for LA Knight? If anything, it makes LA Knight look really, really bad. I don't know. Just do Oba versus Brock. Put Seth Rollins on the shelf, unless there is that magical timeline for Braun Breaker to come back.
Yeah, I agree.
Something else before we move on from the opening segment, because I thought this was a great open to Raw, is I just love the follow up after we get the stomp. Number one, what a freaking bump from Paul Heyman to take that stomp, sell it like he did, blood pouring out of his nose. Heck of a bump from the wise man. Anyway, the follow-up to that I thought was great, of him being escorted out. We get the camera of him going through backstage, entering the ambulance. Then you got Logan leaving to get the car. Theory right there. Jimmy Uso pulls in. Now we got the follow-up to Jimmy Uso thinking the Vision is the ones to attack Jey Uso. I don't necessarily think that actually is what happened. I think we are going to get something where it's like a beef between the Usos and the Vision in a tag team at WrestleMania, but we figure out it truly wasn't the Vision who attacked Jay. So, but I love that. And then the funny moment of LA Knight driving the ambulance away. Don't worry, boys. I'll take him on a ride. Yeah, I did really like that.
I thought it was good. Because it's like I said, like everyone who was on the Vision kind of got a little bit of their get back with the Vision. Mm-hmm. So I think that kind of was the payoff. I think we're going to move on.
Yep.
Can we revisit this when the guys get healthy? Yes.
Of course. People hold grudges. That's a storyline you can easily say. I mean, we literally had the moment on the show. I mean, not to go into the future of all the segments of Io Sky looking at Bayley, and Io Sky still giving her dirty looks because of all the stuff from Damage Control. That was grudges are a thing, so you can easily revisit this storyline. So I agree with what you're saying. And then after that, what I would call a cold open, a great start to the show, we did finally get to the first match of the night. And what a match it was. Gunther versus Dragon Lee. I mean, that match could feed generations, I think.
I honestly think this could be the WrestleMania match for Gunther because, I mean, like you said, it was a really good match. It was really, really entertainment. Dragon Lee did his thing. Gunther doing his thing. But if you told me this was a WrestleMania match and then you like gave him 15, 20
Mhm.
minutes, I think you'd probably get a really quality match.
It really felt like a match that was supposed to be on a PLE. I mean, the way they were going at each other, the beautiful mix of wrestling styles as well. You had the high flying nature of Dragon Lee, and then you just had the very technical, powerful style of Gunther. It made a very good match in the ring. And I mean, for what we've seen Gunther now in his last couple of runs, we've seen him just mess up Goldberg, make John Cena tap out, make AJ Styles pass out, and then the guy to finally truly give like a really good fight is Dragon Lee. I mean, this is telling a story for Dragon Lee. My only question now in my head is, does this point towards Rey Mysterio for Gunther? Does he continue the legend or the career killer moniker because Dragon Lee, part of LWO. LWO ran by Rey Mysterio. What is your plan with Gunther? If maybe Dragon Lee and Gunther is a WrestleMania match, like you, I wouldn't bat an eye, but it would feel like a random. We go from how much momentum he had to his Mania match being Dragon Lee. It does feel a little.
Well, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think you're elevating Dragon Lee and like
You are.
what like you just retired John Cena and AJ Styles, two of the greatest of their generation. You kind of need like, unless you're gonna have him go after the title and go win the title, you like smaller feuds to elevate some of the other faces, which you need to do on this roster. I don't hate it, and like I think like using Gunther in this spot is smart because like when he goes after the big guy, like I think he'll probably be the one to retire Randy in a few years. But I think that it makes it feel more special. So
the only reason Rey Mysterio has been coming across my mind,
which
recently,
you got to say, we still got to get the Dominic Mysterio versus Rey Mysterio. That's probably
exactly
we have.
A lot of people think Dom should be the guy to retire Rey, and that definitely makes sense. I mean, we want more from that feud with them, but in a way, I feel like Rey could be close to retiring because of all the unfortunate injuries that he has had recently. How much longer can he keep going? I mean, he's technically injured right now as we speak. So, I mean, I do think that his end is on the horizon. I do agree that it should be Dom to do it, not Gunther. But at the very least, Gunther versus Dragon Lee, great freaking match. The fact that he had the moment of unmasking him in the sleeper hold, brilliant. Really makes Gunther look good, like a smart heel.
It was that moment that kind of made me think they're gonna continue this because that's a very personal thing to do.
Yep.
And so you got to think there's the next couple steps to build with it.
Has to be. Last question that I would like to pose you, James, about this match. Should this match have been on Chamber? Could this have been a Chamber match in that card? Because I think so.
I'm always for having more like matches on a pay-per-view. I like that this was a really good Raw match. I think like it would have been a fine PLE match. But the fact that it was on Raw, I think it kind of elevates that a little bit, just because like that was good. That was a good match. So I don't know if it should have been on Chamber. I would always like to see like the U.S. title on Chamber, like tag titles
more
being defended, because there was a time where the titles were defended every pay-per-view.
Yeah,
almost.
I do hope that like down the road, I know we've had so far this year, we had SmackDown get extended to 11 o'clock for airtime. So you got another hour to SmackDown. I feel like Raw has been running longer recently by 30 minutes or so from when I'm watching. At least it feels longer. I just think we got to make PLEs longer. I mean, certain PLEs only being 4 matches just doesn't feel like enough.
I think like there was a time, Benny, where some pay-per-views would have like 15 matches, and it's like, all right, that was too much. Because some of the matches were like 4 minutes, and it's like, so there was some stuff that like I think your sweet spot's always. I think for the smaller pay-per-views, like I think Elimination Chamber only having 4 matches, like I think a 5th match So I think 5, but like for the bigger pay-per-views, you probably want like 7 or 8 matches.
Yeah. A 5 would have been beautiful. I loved all 4 of the chamber matches. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking any crap about that. It just felt like I was missing one extra.
I thought the men's chamber was mid.
The only thing about men's chamber is I felt like they were tied up with a lot of storylines that they want to push. You already knew Seth Rollins was going to get involved. I felt like him getting involved and Logan having to fill the spot of Braun Breaker kind of changed. Like Logan stealing the pin of Cody doesn't make sense. They didn't use the cage as a weapon enough.
What are we talking about? Like you did. If that was Braun Breaker you're building him up, I get it. But it was Logan Paul. You didn't pivot to have Trick Williams get a cool spot. Javon Evans didn't even do his stuff.
It literally felt like Logan was doing Braun Breaker.
And I get you gotta make the stuff safer, but the chamber, this was the worst the chamber has ever looked. I'm sorry, it just is. Like I liked what they made with the original safety improvements. I thought it still looked good. They kind of made it a little bit, modernized it a little bit. But this chamber looked like it.
I just felt like they didn't use the actual chamber as a weapon enough. I don't know. Like the girls were pretty good at just flinging each other on the cage, jumping off the cage.
Good. But what is it like with this plastic stuff on the table where like the guy is just going through both of them now? Like it's just it's just bad. Like it was just. Anyway. The bench chamber was mid as fuck.
It was a little
winner. The ending saved it.
Yeah, it was a good winner. A couple good spots in there. Just desired more from it for sure. But so shout out to Gunther Dragon Lee. Probably match of the night in my opinion. It was a great freaking match. But AJ Lee is probably the next big thing to talk about that happened on Raw easily with the open challenge that she has now presented because she came out, did a promo as the champion. I thought it was a good promo, talked her crap, but I thought we were just going to get Becky versus AJ Lynch at WrestleMania. That was definitely what I thought was about to happen. We were going to have a couple promos between the two. This open challenge definitely puts a spoke in that wheel, though.
I like it. I think it gives you an opportunity to debut someone new, give someone else a chance to fight AJ Lee, have a return that a match AJ Lee's kind of always wanted. The first name that comes to mind would be Lita. I don't know if Lita can still go, but shout out Lita. She's always a big Lita fan. But I really like it, and people are hating on AJ Lee a little bit. The internet switches up so fast because everyone was begging for her to be back. I love that AJ Lee's back. I think it was the right time to give her the title. Was it the best match? No, but was it a good match between her and Lynch? Absolutely. Yeah. So I think getting an open challenge out there, I hope we see more of AJ Lee on Raw, and we just continue to elevate the Women's Intercontinental Championship because that belt feels important. Important.
Oh, I mean, Becky did a heck of a job of making it feel important. When Maxine Dupree won the title, that felt like such a huge moment. I think it's because you had this run from Becky Lynch, making it feel like a giant belt, and now AJ Lee winning it as a big name as she is. It also makes it feel bigger. But absolutely. I mean, it's not necessarily the open challenge like we imagined it playing out, not like the Ilya Dragunov, John Cena, Carmelo Hayes ones where we don't know who's going to step up and then we get the random music. We did then get announced that we have a match for next Monday to determine the number one contender. So I guess their storyline is that you had so many people try to go to Pierce that day that they had to make this match. So it got announced. It's Io Sky, Raquel Rodriguez, Bayley, Ivy Nile, Lyra Valkyria, and Asuka will all be going into a gauntlet match this upcoming Monday to determine the number one contender.
Okay, that's badass, Benny. I didn't know about that. Shit. I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I think, do you have Bayley run the gauntlet? That's gonna be a lot of work. That's gonna be like an hour of Raw, so that'll be fun. So
with that all happening, there's really 3 storylines that I noticed while I was watching, and only 3 girls that got highlighted in their own segments and kind of promos or whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
That was Liv Morgan saying to Raquel Rodriguez that her WrestleMania plan to get to WrestleMania is go in as a champion by winning this IC title. That being Raquel's path to WrestleMania after she lost the Chamber. I can get behind that because I don't think we're gonna throw Rodriguez into a triple threat versus Vakir and Liv Morgan as much as some people think. I think the payoff from
absolutely not.
I think the payoff from the Royal Rumble elimination will come after Liv Morgan is champion. Maybe Raquel's the first person to go after the title. I think it's after she wins.
I think Raquel Rodriguez could probably win this match. I wouldn't hate it. Honestly, like the only name in there that I'm like for sure probably isn't going to win this is probably Ivy Nile. I don't think you give it to Valkyria, even though I think that would be like really cool. I think you could do some interesting storytelling. But I think it's probably going to be one of Bayley, Sky, Lynch, or Asuka.
And I don't necessarily think it's going to be Asuka's because I think Asuka's WrestleMania match might be Kairi Sane versus Asuka, with Kairi Sane finally revolting, and you don't need a title on that type of match.
I think you might do Io Sky versus Asuka. You don't need a title for that
too.
Either.
So there's a couple routes. I don't necessarily believe Asuka. I don't believe Lyra Valkyria because the other segment that we got was Lyra Valkyria telling Bayley, why couldn't it be you? Why couldn't you be IC champion? I feel like I've been dragging you down. You need to go win this. Which is also why after the segment, it's a little weird that Lyra's in the match.
I think you probably add her in there. I think she probably eliminates Bayley or vice versa. Maybe you run that match at Mania final.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of interesting things you could do here, and I'm excited. I'm gonna be very tuned in to that one.
I am. So the only question it does leave me is like, what? Obviously, she didn't appear on this Monday Night Raw. We didn't get to hear from her after she lost the championship. My only question coming out of that is, I am hyped for the match. Where does it leave Becky Lynch heading into Mania season? So,
probably with her husband.
Yeah. Same situation. So She had a great IC run, great heel run from her, but I don't have a good plan for her if she's not a part of this IC title scene. So after that, we got a interesting moment where it wasn't really a quote unquote match. Rusev hijacked the announcer's table, and he said he's had enough of hearing of Obafemi. And he called Obafemi to come down to the ring and settle it right now. And, I mean, we got the immediate answer from the ruler, showing off his new merch, by the way. I did notice that, making sure to show that off.
Like, there's no way we're rocking Obafemi versus Rusev at Mania. I love Rusev. I was there for Prime Rusev Day.
But could it not be? Hear me out. I propose Seth Rollins versus Brock. If that does become a match that happens, where does that leave Oba? I think Oba and Rusev could be a good enough match on Mania because at least it's another big body wrestler that's supposed to be there to pose as a not so movable force for Obafemi.
I guess, yeah. Like, I don't hate it.
And we don't get to see a lot of Rusev, and I do like Rusev matches when it's on TV, but I'm in the same boat. It just feels like you have to run Oba versus Brock. I don't see any other way.
If we were building up to Payback, Backlash, I'm rocking with it. But this is WrestleMania.
This is WrestleMania, baby.
When you have Obafemi Brock Lesnar and you want to give me Obafemi Rusev, like, I love Rusev. Again, I was there for the Prime Rusev days, okay? I knew what day it was, okay? Him and Aiden English out there. So, yeah, but it just doesn't. I just wouldn't. Like, would it be a fine match? It'd be fine. Would it be just a 3-star match? Probably.
You don't want fine attached to the same sentence as WrestleMania.
Also, like, this is Obafemi's first WrestleMania. Like,
yes,
first opponent.
Let's show him off in a great way. But I did like this segment. Like I said, Rusev does pose that's like that big body guy that's not so easy to move. But in this moment, Oba he looked good in this match. I mean, he threw him around, hit the big ball, and we did get announced that this match will happen at next Monday on Raw. So we will probably get a payoff there. I mean, like the only thing I would also add to the possible idea that maybe it is Rusev Obafemi at Romania, maybe you just add a really cool stipulation to it, and that gives a little bit more hype behind their match if you did run it for this long in the program. But it's still.
I like how they're building. Like that's the thing. Like they're actually doing a decent job at building up this matchup. Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
I just think if you could do this with Brock Lesnar, I think.
Yeah, exactly. We definitely need. I still am behind that. Brock needs a couple people to come out where he says you're not worthy. He F5s the absolute crap out of them, while Obafemi is running his little thing with Rusev, and then Madison Square Garden. That's when Oba answers Brock's call. So, and then we start building from there. I think that's just exactly what they need to do. After the little brawl that we had between the two giants, we had a very funny moment in the backstage where a new face in the WWE got debuted. Well, I shouldn't say debuted. He debuted at Chamber. We officially figured out what brand he's going to be attached to because Danhausen officially appeared on Raw, and fans got their first taste of him. And I know a lot of people were sour with how his debut went, with it being hyped up in the box for so long, and that he's the guy in the box. But I think the character is going to be a good addition.
I think so too. I was always a fan of Danhausen. I think you can do some really fun stuff. I don't think AEW was necessarily the place for Danhausen to shine. It worked at first with what it was, but the more his character grew, and the more AEW kind of figured out what they were going to be. It was very clear Danhausen's a WWE guy. I think he's going to do really, really good with the WWE.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
He's not here to be the world champion. He's not.
No, if you're a fan of the El Grande storyline, if you're a fan of R-Truth, if you're a fan of Kit Wilson's whole personality within the WWE, you're going to be a fan of Danhausen because this guy is funny. And like you said, I don't think he was built for the AEW. What are you going to do? Put Danhausen in a death match? No.
Put Danhausen versus Kenny Omega? It doesn't work like that.
No, but I thought
Adam Page.
Something I would like to say though, if this would have just been how he debuted, it could have honestly probably been better than the Chamber, but the Chamber wasn't bad. They get the whole random musical number. It just wasn't bad. It just didn't feel like it matched what they were hyping that box to be. That's the only problem there was with it.
Like I said, Benny, I don't know what the box could have been. I was confused by the whole thing. Mm-hmm. When Danhausen came out, I popped.
You popped? All right.
I popped.
Obviously, they got
I'm not gonna lie, guys. I popped. Sue me. I popped. I turned to my girlfriend who I was watching with. I was like, "This is actually really cool." Actually, I can't. I was like, because I wasn't that hyped up for it. It was Dan come out. I was like, "All right, it's kind of cool."
Yeah. So we got him debuting on Raw. It does seem like Raw is going to be his brand now, unless he does appear on SmackDown this week. Maybe he curses Drew McIntyre next.
See, if he curses Drew McIntyre, it'd be the funniest shit ever.
That would be pretty freaking funny. So obviously he mentioned it there. The whole curse is his shtick. But before we got to the curse, they even had the demands that he made to Adam Pearce. He called Adam Pearce Stone Cold with the glasses disguise. I mean, that was our opening line from Danhausen. Just funny as hell. Saying he needs his face on a blimp, the iconic Triple H pointing photo. And then we get Judgment Day meeting him, and then he placed the curse on Dom. And let me tell you, James, as a big Dirty Dom fan, as soon as I saw him go, "Hey, I'm cursed," I looked at my buddy who I was watching with. I'm like, "Oh, so Dom's losing the title tonight." So Dom's losing the title tonight. Not great, but honestly, also great. A perfect person to just come in and curse immediately. And yeah,
I think it was good. Let's just go ahead and move on to the Dom Penta match. I thought it was a really fun, good match. I think Penta getting his first title. I'm curious to see how you can kind of build this up into a match for WrestleMania. Like who's he facing? I think it's like a perfect time for you to do a ladder match like you used to do for those titles. And I think Penta being in there, you got a couple of really cool mid carders who've surrounded the IC title for a while. Maybe you throw Gunther in that match, and I think you can have a really good formula. But I'm excited to see what Penta can do with the IC title. I think it's going to be. Hopefully, it's a solid reign.
Yeah, it's so much deserved. This guy needed a title on him sooner than later. I mean, he is such a great performer, awesome in the ring, good with the promos. He's just all around a good wrestler. This was a great match between him and Dom. I don't think this is going to become any type of rematch thing. We have run Dom and Penta a lot within the last year. I think this is just them saying Dom is done with the IC title. He had a very long reign.
And now getting out, so he's gonna go do his AAA stuff. He'll hold that title. He'll probably lose it at their Triple Mania, whatever, and then you can immediately have him go for that world title.
Exactly. I mean, he's right there on the cusp of being a world title guy. I mean, he is so over.
If Damian Priest can be a world title guy, so can Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, you would at least freaking hope so. But you mentioned something about going forward with Penta. I will mention something that I noticed in the match. Now, if you know a lot about Penta's background as a wrestler before he hit the WWE, he was a pretty big time heel for a large portion of it. Lucha Underground, AEW, he did a lot of heel work. Pentagon Dark is a whole version of this character. But when he was in Lucha Underground, from everything I've seen, he had a very big finisher as a heel called the Armbreaker, the Sacrifice. I had not seen him pull that out within the WWE yet until this Dirty Dom match, where he had the moment where he broke the arm, injured the arm, a Dirty Dom snapped it. And I'm like, oh, so that was like his heel finisher. And I've kind of been wondering in my mind, do we get a heel run from Penta within the WWE? Because he flourishes, at least from what I've heard. At least from what I've heard. In the undergrounds, he has flourished within his heel runs.
At some point, yes. I think, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I think Penta could possibly reach a point where he might get too popular to turn heel. Like, he's doing so well. The merchandise is doing really well. He's really good with the kids. You could get to a kind of a point where it's like, is this the best business? But I think if you do turn him heel after, like, you give him a good face title run, and you do a lot of interesting stuff with that. You do a lot of interesting stuff with that.
I am in love with the idea of Penta turning heel. I don't think this IC title run is the time to do that.
But the problem,
it would feel abrupt.
But Benny, it leaves you an issue. We have a lot of good heels on roster. Do we have a lot of good faces who are naturally over with the crowd?
No. And do you want to take Penta away from that?
And I don't think you should. I don't think
unless you build up Javon Evans and Obafemi, you got your upcomers kinda. You got guys down in NXT like Joe Hendry. I don't think Joe Hendry's too far away from the main roster. I know they've been really working him down there to get better in ring, and from what I've seen, he does look better in ring nowadays. But you are right. You hit it right on the coffin. There are so many great heels that get big pops in this business. We need some more baby faces.
Like right now, to me, your biggest baby faces in the company, like CM Punk, Randy Orton, obviously. Obafemi's super, super over. Penta's really over.
Randy might be going back to heel from everything they're trying to make you believe with Aleister Black forcing him heel, telling him, listen to the voices, Randy. It's not out of the realm that Randy goes back heel.
Like, he's a great heel, but, like, he's not going to get booed.
No, he's not.
Like, I think with Cena, I think everyone kind of bought into it and booed him. Like, if Randy punts Cody Rhodes, he's going to get cheered.
Yeah. And also, let's just talk about Cody Rhodes getting unwarranted hate. The guy's a great performer. I don't really care if you think he's
Oh
over
yeah,
pushed or
absolutely,
anything.
absolutely.
Maybe you're getting stale of his character. Don't say he's not a good performer. He's awesome in this business. But we
I
were talking about
think,
baby faces, and something I wanted to ask is right at the end of the Dom Penta match, is kind of the follow up to this babyface turn to Finn Balor. Does he become one of your big baby faces of the company?
he absolutely can be. He was at one point. He
He
absolutely was
was.
at one point.
So
He can obviously get back to that, and I think that'd be the best move for Finn Balor.
yes, and obviously, if you didn't watch Raw at the end of the Dom Penta match, Dom had the classic moment where he wanted to go to his heel shenanigans, and you had JD McDonough and Finn Balor there, as Dom said, to celebrate once he won. But then he asked for the ring bell hammer, and JD went to grab it. Finn stopped him, and Finn definitely leaned into a babyface side, which is leading to what I think is ultimately what a lot of people thought was going to happen: is Finn Balor versus Dom Mysterio at WrestleMania. And you didn't necessarily need the title on that match either to tell the story of that match. We just had Finn Balor in the world title scene. Don't pull him into the IC title scene by maybe having him win the IC title. Maybe keep him in the world title scene. Let him keep going up there and play up there so people really think of him as a big dog.
Absolutely.
So I thought it was a great moment that did have that follow-up that we needed to what seemed to be a partial babyface turn at Chamber, where no shenanigans involved, shook CM Punk's hand.
Mm-hmm.
So thought that was a great moment as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, it's good match. It was a great end. And then you go into your Roman Reigns CM Punk promo, which anytime those two coming in together, it's gonna be magic. They're gonna build up that match. The way they're doing these promos right now, it's really good. It's brilliant. It's
awesome.
Really
I honestly
really excited for this match.
I know it's all scripted. We got stuff like that. I am really just starting to think these guys hate each other. They're doing such a good job in that ring on the mic right now. Number one, selling the idea that they hate each other. Number two, just acting. Like in general, they have looked like great actors in those moments as well. Because obviously they don't hate each other too much if they're going to do a movie together and run lines together and practice lines together. This is but it's being sold to me so well where I'm like, oh my goodness, bro.
Yeah, and they're taking some personal shots.
Yeah, I mean, also, I kind of like the idea of Roman Reigns. Have you noticed that in these promos, him saying, we brought you here? Like, we had the idea of bringing you here to sell to the 40-year-old virgins in their mom's basement. Like, he keeps using the word we. He's kind of like setting himself up as like a authority figure within the company, like a heel authority figure running things.
He's the tribal chief.
And I definitely
He kind of did.
Yeah. And I kind of like that angle from him. I like him pushing that, like, oh, we hear that you're miserable. You go to my cousins when you hang out with them and you're miserable. You hate this company. But then you had easily the biggest shock factor of the promo. No reason to keep putting it off. I'm going to bury you next to your dad. Just a crazy line. Crazy freaking line. Did not expect it. And before I did see this as possibly Roman Reigns being the heel in this one-on-one match, that Roman Reigns goes into his heel persona going against the babyface CM Punk. Now this has me going like, yo, is CM Punk reverting back to his heel ways?
I was gonna say, I don't think this babyface versus heel. I think this is Joanna White versus Phil Brooks. This is CM Punk versus Roman Reigns. This is a personal blood feud where they are going to attack, verbally attack each other. They're both going to do heel things to each other.
Yeah,
there are no good guys. They are.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the nail. I don't think this match needs a heel and a face. I think this match is just simply, these are two of the best guys. Are they normally baby faces? Yes. But when they meet up against each other, they don't really like each other. But they know the guy standing across them is so good, they're gonna have to reach into the bag and do some heel things, say some heel things, get a little personal, get under the skin. And I think that's what we're watching unfold. And it's been awesome. There is nothing really that I can mark on it. The only thing I have to say is that Larry is definitely going to get brought up by Roman Reigns the next time these two are face to face.
Probably AJ.
There really is no other way to go from I'm going to bury you next to your dad other than Larry.
Yeah, I'm going to bury you next to your dog.
And honestly, like these two guys just said, hey, everything's on the tables. And I got to shake their hand for it because this is building this match into exactly what it needed to be built into. This is truly not just selling me on the fact that, hey, this is one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time. It's selling me on the fact these two just hate each other.
100%.
So something we did also kind of skip over was Rhea Ripley, the promo right before that on Jade Cargill. We just essentially it was a promo with the Io Sky. They were saying, hey, we both love each other. I'm about to be over on SmackDown. Io's on here on Raw. Hold shit down over here, Queen. And then it got into targeting Jade Cargill and that intense stare right into the camera. I mean, felt so personal, saying I'm going to see you face to face on Friday. And I think you saw, James, the Twitter exchange online that went on between Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill was also a little interesting.
Like it got real, like that was real stuff right there. Like this is gonna be another personal feud. I think they're gonna take some shots. I think this is gonna be a stiffer match than what you're used to seeing.
Yeah,
but I think ultimately you gotta give the win to Rhea. I think this is kind of what this is building to.
But unfortunately, it kind of leads into exactly what Jade was saying online, which is like, you're in creative's ears, you're over push, and it's for a reason. But Rhea said it's all lies. It was just somehow Piper Niven and Chelsea Green got involved in the whole thing. It was weird. At first, I thought it was a work, but the longer it went on,
it was not.
I don't think this is a work.
They worked themselves into a shoot.
Yeah. So definitely has me a little bit more hyped up for the match.
I'm excited to see what the face-to-face is, but yeah, no, I'm kind of saying the same thing. Like, all right, I'm a little more interested because I think Rhea wins.
I do think Rhea wins that matchup too because I just don't know that title has been interesting. It feels so lackluster. Like the Raw Women's title feels like there's a lot of people that have been after it. You had Io, you had Liv, you've had Raquel, Stephanie back here. There's a lot of people playing for that card. Just like the SmackDown title has felt abysmal. I mean, this whole year was just Tiffy versus Jade Cargill. And Jade Cargill has defended once, and that was Jordynne Grace. She got called up.
Like the feuds definitely have kind of been on for that belt anyway, specifically a little bit more lackluster. Like that feels like the secondary world title, but I mean it's still a world title. So
it still is a world title, but this match I am legitimately hyped up for now. So that was the Raw. Overall, phenomenal Raw. If I had to give it like a letter grade, I personally would give it like a A-. Like I'm right there. It's not like a full A+ for me. There's a couple more things that I would have liked, but overall, great show. Great show. Road to WrestleMania feels like the road to WrestleMania right now, immediately.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So, and then the only match that we really know is on SmackDown for tomorrow night is really the only match that we need to know about for tomorrow night.
The thing that matters.
So it is Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre.
Give him the extra hour. Give him the extra hour.
Yeah. It is Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre. It got announced right after Chamber with Nick Aldis. You know what? Something else. Let me finish. Nick Aldis being so mad at Drew McIntyre for always interfering and keeping Cody out of this title scene, getting involved in Royal Rumble, getting involved in the Chamber, constantly just getting involved. He goes, you will defend that belt against Cody this Friday. And a crazy announcement. And just with how angry Nick Aldis looked at Drew McIntyre and how personal it felt between those two, You know what, James? I wouldn't be surprised if you told me Drew McIntyre's WrestleMania match could be Nick Aldis.
He was a great wrestler in TNA. He did his thing. I wouldn't hate it either, especially if you're taking the belt off.
Yeah.
Which I think this is what you're doing. I think they are going full in on Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, which I think is
well. When you have
that's smart. That's smart.
When you have tickets not being sold, what is the match that has been a dream match for probably the last since Cody Rhodes has picked up this title again? Yeah. What has been the dream match?
Cody came back, period.
Yeah, honestly, true, because of all their history and the backstory that you have behind it, the storytelling that you can tell with it. Maybe Randy goes back and listens to the voices, goes back heel. Maybe you get a little bit of a heel Cody Rhodes like people kind of wanted when John Cena turned face. But also, we then did say, how many big time baby faces do you have? It could just be another one of those matches where it's like, it's so big, you don't need a heel or a face.
Exactly.
But it is a huge match. I do agree with you. I think that's where we're going. Is Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. I did think for a while that we were going to get like a 4-way of Randy, Cody, Jacob Fatu, Drew McIntyre. I think those are just going to be 2 separate matches. Jacob Fatu, Drew McIntyre, Randy versus Cody.
Which I think is smart. I'm always for a multi-man world title match just because, like, those are pretty rare nowadays. We get multi-man world title matches. I think like the Mania's time to pull it out. But yeah, I think if you go Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu, I think that's a good match. I think if you go Nick Aldis, Drew McIntyre, I think there's intrigue there just because it's Nick Aldis' first match in the WWE. So
there's been rumors from what I've seen of Aldis returning to ring, and something that I noticed when they were revealing the 2K overalls, they didn't show you like an Adam Pearce overall for in ring, but they showed you that Nick Aldis was 85 overall. They made sure to show you that, which is like
they did
interesting. I would probably buy into an Aldis versus Drew McIntyre fight. I think that could be a very
100%.
unique storyline. But that is the match happening tomorrow night. I do feel like Cody's winning this match. I mean, maybe they pull the rug and we do run Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, but don't steal the Cody versus Randy match. People have wanted it, like you said, since Cody came back. This is when you are having a struggling or you're struggling to sell tickets at Mania. Give us the 2 best matches that you can possibly put on paper, which as of right this moment, I think you got it right in Reigns versus Punk, and give us Rhodes versus Randy. And I'm like, cooked. They cooked.
I think as long as the matches deliver, I think you might have a decent WrestleMania. Like WrestleMania Night 1 was so good last year. It was so good. It was really Night 2 of last year that kind of fell flat, and a lot of that ending and Jey Uso versus Gunther. Like, your 2 main title matches were kind of stinkers. Night 2 felt not as good.
Well, you had nothing happen in the Cena Rhodes one.
Night 1 was fantastic last year.
Yeah, Night 1 was awesome. What do they like to call it? The ruse of the century? The wise man headed the double cheap shots.
100%.
But so yeah, that's all it for the Raw recap. It for the one match for SmackDown, previewing that. So let's head into our one segment of the week on the pod. And this week, we thought up of a segment that is just going to be one centered around WrestleMania right now, as we are on this road, and this road has started. Who are the wrestlers out there that currently right now have no clear picture for WrestleMania? And we thought up some names. James, I'll let you give the first name.
Well, to me, it's Seth Rollins, because if that was the payoff, and Theory and Logan Paul are going after the tag titles, where does that leave Seth Rollins? I think you've brought up the Brock Lesnar Open Challenge. We've been there. We've done that a couple times. So, I mean, you could always do it again, I guess. But what do you do with Seth Rollins? I think he kind of just takes a break.
Yep. I think it's simple as that. I mean, I did also touch on it. If there was this magical world where Braun Breaker returns from his injury, he can heal pretty fast, then yes, you can give me Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins. I won't really bat an eye at it. either. And you could do that with pretty limited time to tell the story because he already told the story and you've been waiting to get the payoff of that story. So to me, that's his only route to WrestleMania right now. I mean, unless we did do Paul Heyman versus Seth Rollins, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
so I see Seth Rollins vacationing out of the picture for WrestleMania, unfortunately. And the next one I'll bring up is LA Knight. I think currently right now there is no clear picture, and maybe you had a picture for LA Knight when you had the full vision healthy. Maybe it was LA versus Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins, and Logan and Theory versus the Usos. Maybe that was what you wanted to do. It's not there. It's not an option anymore. So what the hell do you do with LA Knight?
Yeah. I don't know what you do with him, honestly. Like,
I mean, maybe he's the guy that answers Brock Lesnar's challenge. I don't want it. I want Oba. And there's just no clear route. And I think we might just be looking at it.
If LA Knight beats Brock Lesnar, then I like it. However, I know they're not going to do that.
No, unless Brock Lesnar was in the retirement match, they aren't going to have Brock Lesnar lose. They just aren't. But it is an interesting thing.
Gunther could answer Brock Lesnar's challenge. That could be fun.
I thought about that too. It would be something interesting if that became a retirement thing and a retirement outlook. But just give us Oba, please. Please, WWE, just give us Oba. That's all we want. But LA Knight, no clear picture. Maybe he enters the Penta Intercontinental title scene. Because like you said, there is no true path for that. You can throw a lot of different wrestlers into that title. I mean, what was last year's WrestleMania for the IC? It was Braun Breaker. It was Dirty Dom. It was Finn Balor. It was a whole bunch of people. Maybe you just run that again, and LA Knight's in that title scene. It kind of feels like the best outlook for him right now. So
it does.
Then next guy on the list that we have is Gunther. We kind of touched on him there. There is no clear outlook for him unless we did run Dragon Lee versus Gunther at Mania and we somehow kept this feud going for that long and add a stipulation to it. Maybe.
I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate him answering the Brock Lesnar Open Challenge either. The more I kind of think about it in my head right now, the more
I mean, Gunther versus Brock Lesnar could be a really good matchup.
It also kind of looks like there's no clear path for him as well, which is a shame.
No. It is a shame for how much you pushed him as a monster that he might not make your Mania card. It's just it's hard for me to wrap my mind around. We also have Sami Zayn out there, a guy who swore this is going to be his year to win a championship, a guy who's been swearing that for, hold on, let me check my watch, forever. He's been swearing he's going to get that championship. As of right now, he's not in the running for that championship, and he has no clear outlook for WrestleMania. But a guy we have on this list to mention, I think maybe could become a card. But first, I'll let you say what you were going to say.
Oh, I just think with Sammy, I think kind of where his character's at, I think there's kind of really no place for him to be on Mania. You just kind of keep him as the baby face who keeps trying to get there and is close but can't get it. And I think that's just kind of where Sammy's at right now.
Yeah, Sammy's in an interesting spot with where they have forced his character to be and what his character is. But I'll go ahead and mention the guy because there is someone who I think maybe Sammy does go after. And maybe it is a Mania-worthy match. Trick Williams is a guy who doesn't necessarily have a Mania outlook for his debut, how big he's become, how over he is. But who does he like to talk a lot of crap to? Sami Zayn. He's been talking so much crap. You're not the guy, Sammy.
I like that.
You won't pull the trigger. You're constantly saying not pulling the trigger. Maybe Sami Zayn does something to pull the trigger in their match at Mania against Trick Williams by picking up a chair, smacking him, or just doing some heel activities. Maybe we get a heel turn. I think that could be a route for Sami Zayn for Mania, but of course, right now that's just hypothetical by me, and we have no clear implication that they're even going to beef in ring going forward. But it is something on my mind, and like the only thing I can think of for Sami Zayn at Mania.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it.
And a good way to get Trick Williams on the card and get that cheap pop in that Las Vegas stadium of, whoa, that Trick. Because damn, that dude is over.
He over.
Is so over.
He is over.
It's
really good to see.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. And it just showed that they took the right time on these guys in NXT. They didn't rush them into the WWE just to end up in a mid-card purgatory. They waited until these guys to be true stars that even your guys that don't watch the NXT, they knew who Oba, Javon Evans, and Trick Williams were heading into their debut on the main card. So I think they did it beautifully. But another guy that they've been debuting a lot recently, him getting into Chamber, him being the Iron Man at the Royal Rumble, Javon Evans, also another guy that doesn't on paper have a route to Mania for how much you've pushed him. It's a little bit of an interesting one. That's another one though, James, that I think could end up in a crazy big time match for the IC title with Penta.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because on paper, Penta and Javon Evans, ooh, that would be a heater.
100%. 100%
that would be a heater. And then you brought this one up. I didn't even think about him, but I'll let you talk about him, the U.S. champion.
Yeah, I mean, it's Carmelo Hayes. And so I think that's, because like he's your main champion. Normally you kind of have an idea of who he's going to be feuding with. Like he kind of drops some hints there. But there's really nothing going on with the U.S. title picture right now. And I think I hope we find out more tomorrow on SmackDown. I think we should. But yeah, it's like knowing where these titles, like, because the U.S. and Intercontinental Championships have been elevated more over recent years. WWE picks times where they care about them and times where they don't. It's unfortunate we're kind of in a time where we don't necessarily care about the U.S. title right now as much as we probably should. But even when they weren't cared about back then as much as they should, they were still making the pay-per-view. Like, they were like, okay, we need to defend a match and we need pay-per-view. Hadn't been defended on pay-per-view in so long. So I think we need more pay-per-view matches, and I think the U.S. title should be on WrestleMania. And that's just my humble opinion.
Now, something that I kind of like the idea, because I have really liked the U.S. title open challenge, the storyline of that ever since. I think who started it? It was Sami Zayn when he was holding it. Started that earlier this year, promising to continue John Cena's open challenge. I've loved that. Maybe we could just do an open challenge at Mania. I don't hate the idea. I mean, it is another one of those mysteries, and we know WWE loves a good mystery. I mean, mystery mass men galore, mystery box, open challenge for AJ Lee, but I would kind of get behind Carmelo Hayes standing there. We don't know who his opponent is, and we get some mystery guy coming out.
I mean, I like how many open challenges can you do just because you don't know what you want to do?
Exactly. You can't just keep doing them. But I think the only person they kind of marketed as a guy that would possibly be a Mania match would be Ilya Dragunov. But The Miz has also been involved with that. So maybe it's Ilya Dragunov, The Miz, Carmelo Hayes, triple threat act. So that could, but as of right now, there is no clear path for Carmelo Hayes. And that's all the names that we thought of, at least at this moment. And hopefully the WWE will find some matches for those guys like LA Knight, Gunther, and Sami Zayn, and the Young Guns too.
Yeah, and guys, let us know down in the comments what are some other people that don't have plans for WrestleMania right now that you want to see on the WrestleMania card.
Yeah, leave it right down there. And that's all we have on the show today. I mean, it was a great Raw, and I'm super excited for the SmackDown. Super excited for this title match, even though I do believe that I could bet all my life savings on Cody and be right. Maybe they just pulled a rug. I don't know. But super excited for that. And we'll see you next week for another rendition of the Pander with Slander. And thanks for joining me today, James.
Of course.
And as always, I'm Benny. We'll see you next week.